and their deputies, including returning and new ones, are sworn in for a 4-year tenure. And head of Ukraine's military intelligence, General Kirilo, warns of swift response to a series of Russian missile strikes on Kyiv.
On business news tonight, President Bola Tinubu begins on a high on issues relating to the nation's economy, describes central bank's interest rates as anti-business, promises to review the Naira redesign policy.
On sports news tonight, world number 1 Carlos Alcaraz begins his French Open campaign with straight-set win over Italian Fabio Cobolli to reach the second round.
From Abuja, the nation's capital, former President Muhammadu Buhari arrives Daura, his hometown in Katsina State, to a rousing welcome after serving out his 2 terms of 8 years. And it's a historic day in Nigeria as Bola Tinubu is sworn in as Nigeria's 16th democratically elected president. During his inaugural speech to the nation, President Tinubu says the era of subsidy payment on fuel has ended. President Tinubu says subsidy was not captured in the 2023 budget, and as such, the funds will be channeled to other more important areas. He also vows to prioritize security and the welfare of the people. Our correspondent Terry Kumi reports.
It's the 29th of May, the day when Nigeria transitions from one administration to another every 4 years. The Eagle Square in Abuja is littered with security agencies and radiates beauty from the decorations and the colorful outfits of invited guests who await the arrival of the main actors of the day, the outgoing and the incoming president. In attendance are the outgoing Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo, former President Goodluck Jonathan, and former Head of State General Yakubu Gowon, Presidents of Ghana, Rwanda and South Africa, as well as government officials, federal lawmakers, royal fathers and state governors in whose states there will be no handover are all in attendance. The President-elect and his wife arrive and are received by the outgoing Secretary to the Government of the Federation. The arrival of President Muhammadu Buhari signifies the commencement of the event. Straight away, the Vice President-elect takes his oath of office, administered by the Chief Justice of Nigeria. Then comes the man of the moment, Senator Bola Tinubu, for his oath of office.
I, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, do solemnly swear.
The national and defense flags are lowered and replaced with new ones, indicating the transfer of power to President Bola Tinubu in the presence of the outgoing president. President Tinubu takes a ride around the Eagle Square to inspect the guards and appreciate the guests. Next is the military parade in slow and quick time. This is followed by an aerial display by the Air Force. The already colorful ceremony is further embellished with dance and acrobatics display. Then it's time to hear from the new president. His speech begins with the unity of the country as he extends a hand of friendship to his opponents in the presidential election.
My supporters, I thank you. So who did vote for me, I thank you as well. I extend my hand across the political divide. I ask you to grasp the national affinity and brotherhood. For me, political polarization has faded away. All I see here are Nigerians. As long as this world exists, Nigeria shall exist.
Perhaps the high point for many is his stance on fuel subsidy, security, and the foreign exchange rate.
We shall reform both our security and its architecture. No provision is there for fuel subsidy. The fuel subsidy is gone. The central bank must work towards a unified exchange rate. National flag, peace and arms.
The hearty cheers and 21-gun salute welcome Nigeria's fifth democratically elected president since the return to democracy, President Bola Tinubu, and also signifies the seventh consecutive democratic transition. The president now has his work cut out for him as he's promised, among other things, to unify the country. From the Eagle Square in Abuja, Terry Ikumi, Channels Television News.
Meanwhile, some Nigerians have expressed hope and expectation for the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, given the present state of the nation's economy. They're urging the president to prioritize security, revive the economy in order to make life more meaningful for citizens. Our correspondent, Victoria Longjohn, has more.
I, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, do solemnly swear.
The seventh democratic transition sees President Bola Tinubu take over power from former President Muhammadu Buhari.
And that I will preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So help me God.
President Tinubu is taking over the reins of power at a time when Nigeria is faced with a myriad of challenges. But in spite of these challenges, Nigerians are hopeful and have urged President Tinubu to prioritize issues of insecurity and the economy.
He needs to really work on is the security architecture of Nigeria. And as soon as he's able to succeed with that, I think we need to look inwards. We need to go back to agriculture. We need to go back to doing those things that Nigerians are known for.
He himself is a visionary with an agenda, and he knows how to attract foreign investment and make Nigeria stable enough for all foreign investments, because the world is right now globalized and everyone's counting on each other for support.
I believe must handle quickly the issues of energy, the issues of subsidy, the issues of education, and there must be low-hanging fruits for Nigerians. Nigerians must from this afternoon know that one whose actions and inactions are centered around the people is in charge.
The future of Nigeria is at stake, so much is expected from this administration.
The government should also focus on bringing out the best in Nigerians. Nigerians are the smartest people in the world, but they just need someone like President Bola Tinubu that will bring out the best in them. He knows how to do it. When he came to Lagos, he did it for Lagosians, and I know by the grace of God, he's going to do it for Nigerians.
President Bola Tinubu has his job cut out already for him. The clock is ticking. Nigerians are waiting. Expectations are high. President Tinubu, during his inauguration speech this morning, emphasized on the need for the unity of all Nigerians, regardless of our differences. And that's what the country needs, particularly in this time of our democracy. From the Eagle Square, Victoria Longjohn, Channels Television News.
Well, we go over to the States, where pledges of social inclusion, poverty alleviation and the need to protect lives and properties resonate as governors in the northern region take their oath of office. The measures, according to the governors, are to ensure that all persons, irrespective of political or religious leanings, benefit from the dividends of democracy.
It's Inauguration Day, and most state capitals across northern Nigeria are alive. Colorful attires adorn most of the venues of the inauguration exercises. governors are taking their oaths of office, promising to better the effort of the previous administration. Some are promising to build on the foundations laid by their predecessors.
Today is a day of celebration for our state. Today is a day that we honor the history we have made while working towards the future with confidence and hope. Today, we begin a new chapter.
Our administration will pay adequate attention to the development of education, science, and technology as the backbone of our aspiration. We will therefore make education the centerpiece of our development agenda.
As your governor, I'm committed to working with security agencies and the federal government to ensure the safety of lives and property in our state.
We will improve access to quality health care at all levels while calling our people to key in our preventive health care programs. I come prepared, very determined, and imbued with a clear vision for the continued progress of the state.
We will summon the political will every step of the way to initiate policies and programs that will engender peace, progress, and prosperity in our land.
As for some of those that are returning for their second term, they plan to increase their efforts to deliver good governance to the people.
Continue with our ease of doing business policies so as to consolidate our position as the most business-friendly state in Nigeria.
More than ever before, in our vision to sustain accelerated growth, increase economic opportunities and prosperity, social inclusion, and improve the quality of lives of the citizenry.
Not only prioritize education and agriculture as critical areas with inestimable value chain that will impact on our plans, but I will also hereby declare an emergency in these two sectors. They will rank only with staff salaries and security as first-line charges, critical to the survival and future of our people.
The next 4 years will consolidate the gains of the first tenure and lay a new foundation for sustainable socio-economic development and institutional growth.
The job for these state executives is clear, and the next couple of days will indicate the policy direction of their administrations.
In part two, after the break, Governors Babajide Sanwo-Olu of Lagos State, Dapo Abiodun of Ogun State, Peter Mbah of Enugu and others take their oath of office. We'll have that in a moment. Do stay with us. Welcome back. If you just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 live on Channels Television. Here's a reminder of our top stories. It's a new dawn in Nigeria as Bola Tinubu becomes Nigeria's 16th democratically elected president. Security, job creation, food security and ending extreme poverty top his agenda for the next 4 years. Nigerians from all walks of life set their agenda for the new administration, with many asking for the president to hit the ground running. It's Inauguration Day across Nigeria as 28 governors and their deputies, including returning and new ones, are sworn in for a 4-year tenure. And the Nigerian broadcast industry is thrown into mourning following the death of the founder of Dar Communications PLC, Chief Raymond Dokpesi. staying with inauguration activities, we go over to the south where a new governor has been sworn in Rivers State, taking over from Nyesom Wike, who governed the state for 2 consecutive terms of 8 years. The swearing-in ceremony of Siminalayi Fubara took place at the Yakubu Gowon Stadium in Port Harcourt, with many dignitaries, including former governors Peter Odili of Rivers, Samuel Otom of Benue State, and Ayodele Fayose of Ekiti State in attendance. Governor Fubara promised to improve security, turn around the economy, and prioritize the welfare of civil servants, among others.
Hundreds defy the rain to gather at the Yakubu Gowon Stadium in Port Harcourt, Rivers State, to witness the birth of a new era in the administration of the state. Governor Nyesom Wike, with long-standing political history and experience, is in a bid to hand over after 8 years to his successor, Siminalayi Fubara, a civil servant and financial administrator. The arena is agog with activity as Governor Wike arrives with his wife and immediately takes the salute and performs the lap of honor. Then the high point of the ceremony, beginning with the swearing-in of the Deputy Governor-elect, Professor Ngozi Odu, by the Chief Judge of Rivers State, Justice Simon Amadi. The oath of office is then administered at about 12 p.m. to usher in Governor Siminalayi Fubara, the immediate past Accountant General of the state, as the 17th Governor of Rivers State.
To the service and well-being of the people of Nigeria.
And well-being of the people of Nigeria.
So help me God.
So help me God.
The symbolic handing over takes place.
Ladies and gentlemen, to the glory of God, I hand over the flag of the state and the handover notes to the new governor of Rivers State. Thank you and God bless you.
Former governor departs the arena just after the exercise. Delivering his inaugural address, the new governor promises to be the governor of all and pledges to improve security and economy, build more infrastructure, and raise the welfare of civil servants.
We have accepted the baton to continue the race. We will provide strong, determined, focused, purposeful, and responsible leadership.
With a successful transition of power, Rivers State people expect the new governor to immediately hit the ground running. With his consolidation of the new Rivers vision, Siminalayi Fubara is the first civil servant and first from the Rivers Southeast Senatorial District to become governor in the 56-year history of the state. He also holds the record as the first from the riverine areas of the state to become governor since 1999.
In Lagos, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has taken his oath of office for a second term. During the ceremony at the Tafawa Balewa Square, Governor Sanwo-Olu assured the people of implementing transformative policies and programs that will be beneficial to all Lagosians. It's a roll call of dignitaries from home and abroad, dressed in bright colours, converging on the Tafawa Balewa Square for the second term inauguration of Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu and Mr. Kadri Hamzat for another 4 years in office. The early morning downpour in Lagos did not deter the people from taking part in the ceremony. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu is taking this role for the second time. He arrives just in time to kickstart the event and takes position for the march past. He's been given the opportunity to serve the people for another 4 years, having won the 2023 governorship election in the state.
faithfully and in accordance with the Constitution.
Thereafter, he takes his oath of office.
And always in the interest of the sovereignty, integrity, solidarity, well-being and prosperity of the Lagos State of Nigeria.
It's the turn of the Deputy Governor, Kadri Hamzat.
And in accordance with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the law.
The governor outlines his plans for the people, emphasizing that Lagos will be an example for good governance.
We are strengthening and reinforcing our team with a no one left behind philosophy. No one will be left behind on account of their social status. No one will be left behind on account of their gender or age. We will design all of our programs and policies to ensure that everyone is carried along and is catered for. We assure you that the progress we have made will not be reversed. We will remain steadfast in our mission to make Lagos State a model of good governance, a beacon of hope and opportunity for all. Our path is clear and our resolve is unshakable.
Governor Sanwo-Olu takes a motorcade ride, appreciates the people and assures of an all-inclusive governance in the next 4 years of his administration. We head now to neighboring Ogun State, where Governor Dapo Abiodun and his deputy, Noimoto Yedele, have been sworn in for another term. The event, which coincides with the governor's 63rd birthday, held at the Moshood Abiola Stadium in Abeokuta, the state capital, where he was accompanied by his wife, other members of his family and government officials. He promised to build on the gains of the last 4 years of his administration in areas of critical infrastructure, security and economic development.
Dignitaries, including members of the National and State Assemblies, traditional rulers, leaders of thought, former governors of the state, investors, among other distinguished personalities, defied the downpour to witness the swearing-in of Governor Dapo Abiodun for a second term in office. After the customary ride in a motorcade, the governor inspects the parade and guard of honor mounted by men of the Ogun Police Command.
Inauguration ceremony in honor.
Because it's a day of joy. Congratulations to you, ma.
This done, the governor and his deputy took turns to recite the oath of office and sign the dotted lines.
Can we clap for the children as well? These lucky children.
Chess master, chess master, chess master. Chess master, chess master, chess master.
I, Prince Adedapo Oluseun Abiodun.
Appreciating residents for their support during his first term in office, the governor in his inauguration speech scored his administration high during the same period, promising also to consolidate on his achievements.
Your unflinching faith in our ability to deliver on our promises means so much to us, and we will not disappoint you.
Governor Abiodun is also seeking the cooperation of the entire Ogun citizenry to enable him fulfill his plans, which center on infrastructure development, security, collaboration with Lagos State on the Blue and Red Line railway transport system, among others.
I believe through hard work, determination, a shared vision for the future, we can achieve great things.
And in the spirit of the occasion, the governor has approved the immediate release of 41 inmates serving across correctional centers in the state, while 1 inmate on death row is to have this verdict reviewed for a lesser one.
Still ahead on the news at 10, President Bola Tinubu describes the central bank's interest rate as anti-business, promises to review the Naira redesign policy. We have that on Business News. Please join us again. Well, let's head to the southeast now, where Mr. Peter Mbah has taken the oath of office as the governor of Enugu State with the pledge of transparency and accountability in line with his campaign manifesto. In his first official assignment, Mr. Mbah signed 3 executive orders to ensure good governance in the state.
Mr. Peter Mbah proceeds to take his oath of office as the 4th governor of Enugu State, along with his deputy, Ifeanyi Osai.
I, Peter Ndubisi Mbah, do solemnly swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
I, Ifeanyi Martin Osai, do solemnly swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
The governor then inspects the guard of honor mounted by officers of the State Police Command with a promise to deliver good governance.
Our driving force and governance philosophy will be always based on transcendental values. We will invoke the spirit of enterprise, the creative energy of our people, and the remarkable industry on the streets of Enugu State to create the difference in governance. We will pursue an economic growth that is unrivaled on this part of the country.
After the inauguration ceremony, he moves to the government house to perform his first official function as governor with the signing of 3 executive orders.
And this order will hold me and my team to account. What it means is that all the revenues accruing to the state would be published and it will be detailed. You're also going to see in our dashboard our expenditure. So you're going to be able to view our dashboard and you'll be able to see the revenues accruable to the state and what those revenues are used for. And most importantly, the impact. So there will be a connection between our revenues and the measurable indicators we've outlined in our manifesto.
As Mr. Mbah begins his journey as governor of the state, the expectations of Enugu residents is the fulfillment of his election promises.
And more governors have been sworn in southern Nigeria, either for the first time or a second term in office. All the governors announced their programs, which centered around improving the economies of their state and welfare of citizens.
Thousands converged in Ibadan to witness the swearing-in of Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde as he takes his oath of office while promising a more prosperous Oyo State.
That I will exercise the authority vested in me as governor.
That I will exercise the authority vested in me as governor.
So as not to impede or prejudice the authority.
So as not to impede or prejudice the authority
lawfully vested in the President of the Federal Republic.
In the South region, Sheriff Oboriwori has also been sworn in as the governor of Delta State with a pledge to consolidate all the achievements of his predecessor.
Warri, the commercial center of the state, will be given special attention under this administration. To the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Staying with the South, Pastor Umoino has also been sworn in as the 5th elected governor of Akwa Ibom State. Pastor Eno promises to run an all-inclusive government.
I therefore dedicate this day to the Almighty God and to you, the people of Akwa Ibom State.
A neighboring Cross River State, Senator Basio II is sworn in as the 6th civilian governor of the state by the state chief judge, Justice Akon Ikpeme. The swearing-in ceremony took place at the UJ Swenin Stadium, Calabar.
Ladies and gentlemen, I join politics to provide service to humanity and nothing more. I have spent my gifting opportunities in the legislative and my creative convictions in advancing the cause of humanity. And I intend to leverage on those templates in providing the best governance to the people of Cross River State.
Dear beautiful ideas for the development of ideas.
In the southeast, Mr. Francis Nwifuru has also taken the oath of office to serve the people of Ebonyi State for the next 4 years.
We head to the nation's capital where Gloria Mezuke is standing by with more. Hi, Gloria. It's been quite a historic day for Nigerians.
You could say so again, Millicent. Thank you. From Abuja, former President Muhammadu Buhari is back to his hometown, Daura, in Katsina State. The president, who left the Federal Capital Territory after handing over to his successor, arrived to a rousing welcome in Daura. Our correspondent, Emperor Simon, reports.
Former President Muhammadu Buhari ended his 2 terms as President of Nigeria. He bids Nigerians farewell as his motorcade leaves the Eagle Square.
And Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
At the presidential wing of the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, a presidential jet is waiting for him. The Presidential Guards Brigade is also on ground. The former president's family members are the first to arrive at the airport, followed by some of his former cabinet members, including the former vice president, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, and his wife, Mrs. Dolapo Osinbajo, and former aides. Then, the former president shows up. Only a few security attachés are around him, and the usual restrictions by security aides seem to be relaxed as Mr. Buhari exchanges last-moment pleasantries before boarding the aircraft. The Guards Brigade is then dismissed.
The fact that one was able to go through this period and we're leaving hale and hearty and all is well, I want to just thank God for that.
Very good. I had a president that was supporting, even when we have industrial unrest and strikes.
Amidst cheers, Professor Osinbajo and his wife also board their aircraft. By 12:30 in the afternoon, Mr. Buhari's aircraft is airborne, and about an hour later, he arrives at Umaru Musa Yar'Adua International Airport in Katsina State, where he is warmly received by the newly sworn-in governor of Katsina State, Mr. Dikko Rada, and other sons and daughters of the state, before boarding an Air Force helicopter to proceed to Daura, his hometown. Residents commend his leadership style and achievements. The Buhari administration is now a matter of history. The former president has maintained that he plans to stay far from the issue of governance in the country. Emperor Simon, Channels Television News.
Nigeria appears to be on its way to a deregulated downstream sector of the petroleum industry following the inaugural speech of President Bola Tinubu. At his inauguration today, the president announced that subsidy is gone. In this next report, our energy correspondent, Olu Phillips, brings us a background.
January 1st, 2012 was Nigeria's first real attempt at taming the monster fuel subsidy. Like wildfire under a dry weather condition, dissenting voices grew, and soon a campground was sighted at the Ganifa Park in Ajota, Lagos State. Fast forward to 2015, at the beginning of the immediate past administration of the now former President Muhammadu Buhari, many have thought it will be removed since he has never been a fan of it and had spoken out against it severally. 8 years on the saddle, monies were consistently appropriated for subsidy. In February of this year, the GCO NNPC Malam Mele Kyari announced that the country was spending about 400 billion naira on fuel subsidy monthly.
But we will be there.
While that number swelled, President Buhari had on the 16th of August 2021 signed the Petroleum Industry Bill into law, but okayed the suspension of a part of the PIA on subsidy removal. He would later forward an amended PIA bill to the legislative arm, proposing 18 months extension for the implementation of the Petroleum Industry Act. 18 months will expire June 1st, 2023, and now, just as he promised during his campaigns, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has this to say.
The budget that I've glimpsed before I assumed office, and what I've heard is that no provision is there for fuel subsidy. The fuel subsidy is gone.
What are the implications? At this forum, members of the organized labor, civil society groups, and stakeholders in the oil and gas industry are dissecting the issues on subsidy.
Transportation is copying a huge amount of that subsidy. So you need a framework for public transportation where mass transit system will be the norm. You need to incentivize states, governments, and local government who have public transport systems or who have plans for it so that they can go into it.
June 1. The 18-month suspension of the provision of the PIA on subsidy will come to a full cycle. The 2023 budget does not also have provisions for it. The nation can only wait for the outcomes. Olu Phillips, Channels Television News.
The Nigerian broadcast industry has been thrown into mourning following the death of the founder of Dar Communications PLC, Chief Raymond Dokpesi. A statement from the company's group managing director, Mr. Tony Akiotu, says Chief Dokpesi had been ill in the past few weeks and was on his way to recovery before a fall during a routine gym exercise. Chief Dokpesi was one of the pioneers in the industry, having founded the first private radio station in the country, Ray Power FM, in 1993. He's also the founder of African Independent Television, AIT, one of Nigeria's leading broadcast stations. Meanwhile, the family, in a statement, has described Chief Dokpesi as a beloved husband, father, grandfather, and family friend to many. The statement, signed by his son, Raymond Dokpesi Jr., also describes him as a philanthropist who dedicated his life to the service of his country and his community. The statement reads in part, "The Dokpesi family is grateful for the outpouring of love and support during this difficult time. We ask that you keep us in your thoughts and prayers as we mourn the loss of our patriarch. We also ask for privacy during this time as we grieve together as a family," unquote. The family says it will release further details on the funeral arrangements in due course. Our profound condolences to his family and also the board, management, and staff of Dar Communications PLC. Well, may his soul find eternal rest. Well, that's it from the nation's capital. It's over now to Joke Rogers in Lagos for Business News.
Thank you so much, Gloria. It was indeed a day of promises from Nigeria's new president, Bola Tinubu, and the nation's economy featured prominently in his inaugural speech, where he described the central bank's interest rate as anti-people and anti-business. President Tinubu says the current rate of 18.5% is way too high and needs to be adjusted downwards to encourage investment. He also promised to revisit the central bank's Naira redesign policy. Meanwhile, the Center for the Promotion of Private Enterprise welcomes President Tinubu's decision to create a unified exchange rate regime, stressing that this does not mean a devaluation of the Naira. The CPPE believes unifying the exchange rate will enhance liquidity in the forex market, increase transparency of forex allocation, and reduce opportunities for round-tripping, as well as other sharp practices. Well, Nigeria's NGX was closed today for the May 29th inauguration ceremony. Exchanges in the UK and US were also closed for a holiday. Let's see how other major equities performed at the close of business today. We'll be back in a moment on News at 10 as Millicent takes over the reins.
Thanks, Jacquet. Coming up next on the News at 10, head of Ukraine's military intelligence, General Kirilo, warns of a swift response to a series of Russian missile strikes on Kyiv. That's in Around the World in 5. Welcome back. And the head of Ukraine's military intelligence has warned of a swift response to a series of Russian missile strikes on Kyiv. Well, we have more in Around the World in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the Channel studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. Explosions have rung out across Kyiv as Russia launched its 16th air attack on the Ukrainian capital this month, hours after unleashing dozens of missiles and drones. A local television report from a junction on a busy highway showed missile wreckage that appeared to have hit a traffic light. Still images showed buildings and vehicles burning following the attack as emergency workers extinguished the fires. Here, children running for cover ahead of an expected attack in Kyiv. Despite this, Ukrainian authorities say all the Russian missiles were shut down. Recep Tayyip Erdogan supporters are celebrating after Turkey's longtime president won Sunday's vote after securing another 5 years in power. He told cheering crowds outside his enormous palace on the edge of Ankara that the entire nation of 85 million people had won. But his calls for unity sounded hollow as he ridiculed his opponent, Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu, and took aim at a jailed Kurdish leader. President Erdogan ended with just over 52% of the vote, with his rival falling 2 million votes behind. 4 people have died after a tourist boat capsized on Lake Maggiore in northern Italy due to a sudden whirlwind. People were celebrating a birthday on a 16-metre-long boat when it capsized and sank in a violent storm. 19 survivors swam to shore without serious injury. The wreck of the boat was found at a depth of 16 metres. Aid agencies in Sudan's West Darfur region are warning it is on the brink of a humanitarian catastrophe. Entire villages in Sudan have been burned to the ground by militias. Widespread looting and destruction of vital infrastructure has left many with little or no access to food, clean water and medicine. A ceasefire between the army and the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces has led to a lull in the violence around the Sudanese capital Khartoum, but fighting has continued in Darfur.
Buenos días. Seré breve y trataré también de ser muy claro.
Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez has called a snap election for July the 23rd, a day after his left-wing coalition government suffered heavy losses in regional ballots. Sanchez had said on numerous occasions that he wanted to see out a full term in office and that elections would take place in December. It is highly unusual for a Spanish government to call a snap ballot after a poor performance in a regional vote, and his thinking behind bringing forward the national election is unclear. A vessel operated by the charity Doctors Without Borders has rescued nearly 600 migrants who were sailing on an overcrowded boat off the island of Sicily. The MSF crew from the search and rescue Geo Barents vessel came after receiving a distress signal. The migrants were being taken to the southern port of Bari. More than 47,000 migrant landings have been recorded in Italy so far this year, up from around 18,000 in the same period last year. Social media footage shows a massive wildfire burning in eastern Canada's Nova Scotia province. The local government has issued emergency alerts and multiple evacuation orders for the subdivisions of Upper Tantallon and Hammonds Plains. At least 10 houses had been burnt by the wildfires. Wildfires have been raging in multiple areas in Canada for the past few weeks. And finally, thousands of people have turned out in Nepal to celebrate 70 years since Mount Everest was first scaled in 1953. An official rally and march was held in the capital Kathmandu, where 2 climbers who set new records or achieved special feats in this year's climbing season received certificates from the Nepalese government. The 8,849-metre mountain peak was conquered by New Zealander Edmund Hillary and Sherpa guide Tenzing Norgay on May the 29th, 1953. Mount Everest is now one of Nepal's most popular tourist destinations, attracting climbers from across the world. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel studios in Lagos.
Thanks, Jeffrey. Indeed, it's been quite an eventful day. And the main news again, President Bola Tinubu was today sworn in as the 16th president of Nigeria at the Eagle Square, Abuja, where he promised to create jobs, provide food security, reform the nation's security architecture, and end extreme poverty in the country. That's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you for watching. I'm Melissa Walker. Have a good night and stay safe.